Welcome back to the GLAC studio. This is Gomati Sivasankaran. We are in class 4 of the Gaja Lakshmi painting. This is one of the 8 paintings of goddesses Lakshmi. And this particular form of Lakshmi is called Gaja Lakshmi. Gaja Lakshmi is Gaja, the word Gaja is referred to for the elephant, but most necessarily, this is a goddess that is, relating to all the positive propensities of life and also, inner strength. So we are celebrating diversity in this case, where we are using the picture of image of a girl child from a different country. So each of the paintings that I'm working on are having different, cultural background, children from different cultural background. And this one is an Asian or a Chinese, Japanese background, I guess, that we are working on. And now, what we have done so far, in terms of quick recap, is that we have done this referencing, planning on the referencing when we set out with this idea of doing something like this. How do we use those references and plan? We looked at that in the first class and then moved on to the second session where the plan was, put into execution on this canvas. And then we moved on further to do the execution needed refining. Yeah, so we had to refine that idea. How do we refine that? That needs the help of colors, to crystallize what exactly are we trying to do here, and put in some colors there, and that is called also the layer 2 of blocking. So we did that and we are done with that as well. So this canvas is totally dry and ready for the next set of activities, which is the layer 3. When layer 3 begins, what exactly are we working on? The layer 3 essentially is creating something called dark versus light, creating some kind of tonality difference within each and every section. So what we did in the previous section was really flat colors. It looks flat. The picture doesn't, come up alive. It looks flat because we just put colors in different places. But now within those colors, we try to build dark versus light and create that kind of, range of tonality in our layer 3. We moved step by step from there to taking this to a level where you can see this painting coming up alive, kind of, talking to you and comfortably, showing those elements, shining through very clearly. That's exactly what we are going to do. To start with, we will work on the face and the skin tone, basically the skin tone and the face as well, her hair, the little girl's hair, and quite a bit of things there. So we will do that and see how far that goes and then move on to the next level. I have the needed things next to me now. Okay, what I'm going to do is to tell you what I use when I use each and every color and the brush. So the focus is right now on her skin tone, and for her skin tone, I'm looking at the way the girl looks like in the picture. So we're trying to look at this color, skin tone that we have here, and we will try to see if we can reach 80% of this color. For this, I'm looking at some basic color tonalities that I could use, that is using a little bit of vermilion, that's one, and also taking yellow ochre, those two are common color tonalities that I use to mix to get a skin tone kind of. And to that, depending upon what range it is, I try to use yellow or also burnt umber to go deeper with colors and ranges. And also there is a little bit of white, titanium white that I take. So let's try to do that first and see how that goes. I do have a mix of colors that I'm taking. I need another brush. This is a zero brush. I think I will need a brush that is slightly bigger than that. So I'm just going to take brush number 1, flat, and I had mixed this color range before, so I'm just trying to see if I can use that. So okay, I will have to use something fresh, so not a problem. I'm going to do that. So do not take too much of these two colors, just a little bit to see, because there is it's a very lighter tonality, so we will not need too much of these two colors. Just take a little bit of it and a little bit of yellow ochre as well. And I don't think I will need burnt umber in this case. I guess a bit of primary yellow will help. Once you mix these colors, you will see a very dark tonality, so do not be worried about that. You can add white to that. Titanium white isn't the best color when it has to help you tone down. Just be aware of that. I think I have also mentioned it in many other videos of mine that white tends to lighten up stuff, but it also tones down the whole color that we are trying to build. So just be aware of that. We don't want that to happen, so use that also carefully. So when I mix, I'm going to show you the color tonality that I'm getting right away. And remember, this layer, we're not just going to create one color tonality and leave with that. So it's going to have, like what I said, couple of color tonalities, the darker tonality and also some lighter tonality. So when I have mixed these three colors, so this is what is happening here. Look at this coloring. This is really, really on the darker zone, almost looking like what do you call? Somewhere towards burnt sienna, maybe I would say. So to this, if I have to add a bit of titanium white, I'm going to do that very carefully here to see the kind of color tone I'm getting. Do you see that? No, this white is helping tone down. Yeah. And is it toned down equally to the level where I'm getting to at least 80% of what it is? Yes and no. Maybe I need a little more of white there. I'm just going to tone it down a little bit more. Slight bit more. So that's the lightest of the tonality that I could bring, and I think that is close to what we have here in her skin tone. It's even lighter in some places, which we will work on. So I'm going to start with this lighter color, and I still have the darkest of the tonality that we mixed. What we did it was just a mixture of yellow ochre and primary yellow and a bit of vermilion. So let's go for this lighter color first and see if we can feed this into a skin tone. It looks positive. It looks positive. And I think this is, yeah, if I would say 80% there with the color that I want to. So this is fine for me to move on with the layer 3. So I'm just working on this color to fill her face totally. Good. And this time, whatever grids that are left over are also vanishing now. I can see. All we are going to do is to fill in this color in every single space that is showing her skin. Also, if you want to look at the picture for inspiration, how the hands are built, do have a look at them. I have it next to me here just to remind. And also, I thought of it that I will adjust the hand a little bit. It looks too thin out here in some places. I want to fix that and do um, the adjustments also, and fill out the spaces nicely, just like the way we did previously. Yeah, fill out the spaces nicely. The fingers, everything nicely. We're going to very soon come back into the darker tonality, and then you will see that there is some change coming. Yeah. And before going into the darker tonality, we'll have some details also to work on, which is also coming up. Yeah. So this is going to be a slightly intense session with respect to the face. Now, it's not a detail yet, but near to detailing that we are going to do in a short while. Yes. So get ready for that. Fill this in. Once you've filled it in, yes, leave this out and let's move on to possibly a zero brush. To find one. Yes, I think I have one here. Yes, a zero brush, and I'm going to get started with working on her eyes now. Yeah, so for her eyes I would need a bit of burnt umber. Her eyes are really on the brownie zone. I'm going to need a bit of burnt umber, and I will also have ivory black ready. It's not that, ivory black is an apt color. Uh, Her eye almost looks close to black, but it isn't. Hmm. I'll keep this ready. Hmm? I'm just taking a tiny bit of ivory black and I've kept it ready. Yeah, I'm going to take that a tiny bit and blend it to my burnt umber. So it's majority of that. If I have to say, if I have to put it in parts, I would say just one part of uh, ivory black to 4 parts of burnt umber. So it's kind of on the burnt umber zone still. And that I would be taking in only for the eyes. So that's the color that I will use. I'm mixing it, keeping it ready, but I go back to my titanium white. I don't want it to look totally white as well. So whatever is the skin color, I just take a tinge of it and I have this mixed with my titanium white. So it's all done in the zero brush. So it's really at a micro level. So I'm going to use that for the space close to the eyeball inside her eyes. That is on the lighter tonality. So I'm doing that one more time clearly here. I think from the last time it is visible, though I want to do it a little more clearly. Yeah. And also use this for her teeth. Okay, that's the space where her teeth is to show. I'm filling it in. I'm not doing anything, just filling it in. So I've done that, and now I can go back to that burnt umber versus a little bit of ivory black to work on her eyes. Huh? So look at this. I'll do the eyes one more time here. Nicely. I'm only doing the iris pupil section. Yeah, just filling in that. And I am aware that this inner, or what do you say, the upper eyelid also has the dark, darkness there. I want to do that ever so lightly with these, with the zero brush. Yeah. And when it comes to her eyebrows, I will switch to another zone of color. But before going there, I want to just do the skin tone one more time right under her eye. Make sure that I don't end up showing too much of this darker tonality there. Yeah. So I'm doing that. Okay, now I think I'm ready to go back to a color range that's not so dark as we did with the eye, but slightly off, so I want to add a little bit of, not white, I don't want it to turn gray. So I'm taking yellow ochre, yeah, take yellow ochre, and I mix that with this burnt umber that we did. So we get a slightly lighter tone as compared to what we did for the eye. And that will be a good one for the eyebrows. And before I do the eyebrows, I just want to do the skin tone and fill that in lightly so it doesn't, the way the eyebrows are constructed, it is still in the zone of a baby's eyebrow. Yeah, so I just want to give that nicely, define that very, very, very nicely, subtly. Leave it there and not give too much of dark color tonalities there. Yeah, so I'm just mixing that and giving that there. Kind of fills in here. So that is done. And now we could use the same color tonality that we mixed for eyebrows to do the lips, or you can use or choose the burnt umber to do the lips. I know the lips are really pinky, but do not worry about it now. We are going to focus on having that lips defined clearly, and for that let's use something dark here to play with. Once that is done, and then the next layer, it will be very easy for you to define the space because you have done it already, and then the focus can be on the color that you want to show. Yeah. So I'm just doing her lip again nicely. filling in with that color. And now I just leave that face where her, the sides of her lip line where there is darkness. I just want to highlight that and do that as well. So I think I have managed that now. So the lip line is fair enough. Now I want to work on the nose as well. The same way, it's the same color I am using, that is slightly mixed with yellow ochre and burnt umber. So I'm using that to do the nostrils, the curvature of that nostril. Yeah. And the curve on the nose. So these are all subtle things, but they really are, now beginning to show where things are. And yes, the space in her cheek, that, okay. So I think I have managed to do the important sections. Now it comes to shading it with a slightly darker tonality, which we already have. We have this. We're going to touch that with the same brush number one that I'm using here. I'm going to take that, and where exactly is the darkness? Can you see that? It's in the sides of her cheek. The section where her cheek is, and all these, the upper lip, the chin area. The beauty of the cheek is, she's really awesome. Yes. So let's do that, those sections, and slightly above her eyebrows, and also slightly under her eyebrows, really close to her eye. These are very, very tiny, subtle things that are showing that's the bend of her nose, and all these things. So try to do all that. Watch out for that. The ear again has some kind of, it's not dark, but it's just the pores in the ear. Come to the neck, and you'll see, okay, in the neck, can we do a little more of this? Of course we can. So do you see, it's a very, very slight little tonality change that we are trying to give here. Okay, so I am going to use that on that space of her, this darker tonality on the space where we have defined her. We haven't defined anything, we have left it empty. We have just filled a little more space of her forehead. That's where the hair strands are going to fall. So that's exactly where I'm going to use slightly darker tonality and pull that along. Yes, I think I have managed that now. And the next thing I want to do is to start working on her hair color. What is that color? We already know this color. What's that color that we built? It was yellow ochre and burnt umber mixed, isn't it? That was the lightest form of it. Let's try playing with that. I'm going to take, I have brush number 3 round. going to use that because I've been using the zero brush for this color. I need a little more of that, so I'm taking burnt umber and yellow ochre and mixing that to have this zone of colors that is um, close to her hair color. So it is majority burnt umber, but then the way it looks, it is slightly lighter than burnt umber. So I'm preparing that color. Try to achieve 80% of that if you can, yeah, and try to work on that. There are what do you call zones of black as well that you see, but we don't have to work on it right away. Um, these two colors itself will help. If you want, you can add slight strokes of black, but I would really encourage you not to do that right away. You will see that, right now, this color itself is helping in the process of showing uh, her hair color fairly decently. Yeah, I have managed to fill that section where the hair is with this color. I don't want to use black at all. I'm just leaving tiny spaces there. I think there is a partition of hair there. We will work on it later stage. For now, I've just filled it in. And now I'm moving back to a zero brush with the same color that I used for her hair to work on further details. Okay. So this is going to be slight, sections of how the curves of her cheek is coming around. Mm, the chin is placed because that's also there is some darkness there. Can you see? So we could build on that and do the chin, the cheek, and her and also her ears. It's so delicate, but these are sections that is, kind of telling the story of how she looks, isn't it? So I'm going back to the skin tone brush, brush number 1, sorry. So to blend this color in here. Okay, I guess I will need to do this slightly like this too. Oh, that's a beautiful chubby cheek that I've got here. Zero brush to do this same thing around her neck as well, because we have, the spacing where the neck is. There is this curvature of her neck that I wanted to adjust, so I'm doing that. Also adjusting it and blending in that with the skin color there to give a slight darkness out there. So I think that is done. We are now pretty much done with her face as regards the layer 3 is concerned. Now we can move on to the hands. For the hands, I think we need to move on to also the picture of Lakshmi. Okay, so let's look at the hands and where exactly the darker tonalities are. I would rather start with this brush number 1 with the color tonality that we have mixed here to do the fingers, the spacing around the finger, close to the finger zones. I will just give a darker tonality here in overall. I wouldn't bother about the details yet. I'm going to come to it just the way we did the face. Yeah, but just filling in that sections where the fingers are, the thumb is, and such with this color now, and also the section where there is a fold because of, she holding the flower and such. So I have filled in all these necessary sections with a slightly darker skin tone. It doesn't show much. It's because there isn't really dark in her skin tones also. I'm also doing the same thing in her arms, especially where I see the scope for, shadow. Where is that shadow coming in? It's all in the sections where the light doesn't fall. Look for those places. It's like, um, where the arm is, the hand is like this, and then the back of the section, where the light is falling less. So all these sections, look out for that and try to add the skin tone there. We are going to blend that in also to create a kind of just like the way we did it in the face. We're going to give that tad bit of lightness there. Good. Okay, so I think I have done with the colors as such, and now I have to work on the um, definition of those fingers. Zero brush it is, the burnt umber and yellow ochre mixed color tonality. I'm going to start drawing each and every finger nicely. So right here, I start with the thumb here and I look at where the thumb is. How the angle of the hand is coming out. Do that line clearly. That's her thumb, and then the finger that is holding the flower nicely, the fold of that finger, and then comes the three other fingers that are folded there. And then the palm. Come down to that whole arm with this color. It looks like you are drawing the contours of each finger and also the contours of the arm, but you can again use that color to blend it in. Yeah, the way I would do it is that I would just blend that color in here in the spaces where I want to show some darkness, and I will also blend it in here using the brush number one on the arm, on the sections where it is can be blended in nicely here, so it doesn't look so sharp like there is a contour drawn. If it still shows the lines of the contour the way you have drawn it, it is okay. It's work in progress. Yeah, so we will work on it, and I'm taking the lighter skin color tone also to highlight a little bit of the finger, portions of finger that could have had light. So I'm doing that. Okay, so one hand is done. We have three more hands to work on. I'm going to do this section is slightly tricky because it's got the bend of the arm. Just be aware of that. The way it is bending because there is a pot that she is holding. This hand is holding, so there's a bend in the arm. Be aware of that. Whichever brush is working for you, I'm working with a 0 and switching between 0 and 1 brushes. I'm okay with these two. I mean, that's a good one to work with. So you choose whatever is fine and create those contours slowly, steadily. You see that it's starting to build up there. These fingers as well of this hand that is, showering wealth or, like kind of giving us, that's the hand that is holding the pot as well. So I'm doing that. I'm looking at the way the fingers are shaped. Nearly there with that. All four of them. Small little fingers. Remember that. I think I have drawn them now. Yeah, you kind of see that there is this shape building that is showing in the picture. Now let's blend it in lightly. So I'm just going back to my brush number 1. I start with the arm first. Shade it in wherever you can, and you need to take a little bit of the skin color that we used. If you think it's it's too much, it's getting dark the here, you can do that. Blend it in again. So you're learning to blend also a little bit, isn't it? It's a couple of tonalities that you're using, and you're creating this. Use the brush number 0 as well if you want to highlight something inside the finger. Um, Delicately, yes. And if there are spaces, like in my case, I can see some spaces on the sides that maybe I know I had put in too much of color when I, kind of grossly filled out in the previous layer, which we could adjust when we work on the other sections, isn't it? Her skirt or things like that. So what is important here is the proportion, and then we are having that um, clarity of showing a little bit of what exactly is this shape all about. It's not a what do you call it, it's not a bit of oil or color thrown there. Now it's not beginning to grow into some kind of a shape. Let's work on those other two hands also, be done with it then. Yes, let's see how things go here. I'm starting with the hand, the palm and the fingers. Using the skin tone as well in some places, and so all the four fingers and the thumb and the shape of the palm is done. Then I bring that arm in this section. I see that I've had a little too much of coloring going on, and which I do not need. I can see that I could sharpen this better now. Yeah, I have excess coloring here. I can see that. and I have adjusted it kind of now. Then I will use the other colors when I work on the other colors to fix them. Okay, this hand is kind of ready now. I can see it needs a bit of skin color because it's totally dark in some of the sections that I did not want. All right, now it is okay. I think this is kind of fair enough here. Yeah, cool. So the next thing I want to work on is the last hand, but not the least. Let's do this. Again, we know the finger. There is the thumb that is folded. So let's do that. Thumb first. And then the finger that is folded on the top. The three fingers. I need to show the space properly, which is missing here. Coming down to the palm and the arm. Okay. Looks fair enough. Not the best, but it is okay for now. Like I said, I'm just focusing on getting it, 80% there, and making sure that the sections are not just blocked the way we did blocking last time, but also showing some kind of light versus dark, and you know so that is good. I think this is also done. So with that, if you look at the way the picture is, let's take this out because it's a little sorted. Let's look at the picture right now, the way it looks right now. You can see that the image is looking better. There are sections that are to be adjusted, but not inside, outside, meaning there are other colors that are to be adjusted when I work on the other sections, which I will do in the next session. So as of as regards this particular session, I think we are there, um, having that light versus dark slightly defined. And in this case, it's a bit of challenge because there's a lot of light in her skin. It's a baby skin, but then you need to look for that dark. And to do that, the most important way is to go through the black and white images, because they will show the kind of gray tonality that you can look out for, and you can easily figure that out where it is. And also, now that I'm checking it out, I can also say one other place. For example, right underneath her eye, do you see that there is this very tiny, tiny bit of dark, tonality sitting there? Huh? So that's one example that we could rework on. Add a bit of titanium white to light up if you want, but just be aware of it that titanium white isn't the right color to lighten up, because it really dulls down the whole color itself. Be aware of it and use it sporadically. Yeah. Okay, so that's about today's session. I hope you have found this interesting and challenging to work with, and you've also started to learn while we did this, we also learned two other things. What was that? We did dark versus light. We also learned a little more on detailing. We have begun to give details and seen how to adjust things around, correct things around also as we work along. So we have learned all that together. I hope you have found it useful, and if you need some more time to work on the features, you can, but do keep a balance. Like I said, try to reach 80% to the max and then stop there, because it's also work in progress. Certain other nuances, certain that you can show, can come around in the fourth or the fifth layer also. So leave that space open. It's okay. Like I said, we're not going to work on her hair in great detail yet. When we do that, the whole look of her face will change the moment you give that stroke there. So these things are there. Keep that in mind. And let's meet up in the next class. Until such time, stay blessed, stay happy, stay healthy, stay motivated. Let's meet up. Bye bye.